The door slammed shut with a finality that echoed through the empty hallway, sealing Josephine's fate in the cold silence of her family's rejection. "Get out and don't come back until you've fixed yourself," her father's voice thundered from behind the wood, his words laced with disgust that cut deeper than any knife. Josephine stood on the porch, rain pouring down her face mingling with tears, clutching a duffel bag that held her entire life, knowing in that moment her world had shattered irreparably. She wandered the streets of Seattle that night, the city's relentless drizzle mirroring her inner turmoil. Why did it have to be like this? Josephine thought, her mind racing through the events that led to this exile. It started innocently enough, a stolen kiss with Maria in the park, witnessed by her sister Alina, who had followed her out of suspicion. Alina, the golden child, always perfect in their conservative parents' eyes, had rushed home to spill everything. "Josie's seeing a girl," she'd said, her voice trembling not with concern but with a mix of jealousy and righteousness. The confrontation that followed was brutal. Accusations of sin, demands for repentance, and ultimatums that left no room for understanding. Josephine had pleaded, explained that her love for Maria was real pure, but it fell on deaf ears. Her mother wept, her father raged, and Alina stood silent, arms crossed, as if her betrayal was justified. Now homeless at 22, Josephine grappled with the betrayal's sting. Alina, her older sister by 2 years, had always been competitive, but this was a dagger to the heart. Growing up in their strict Catholic household, Josephine had hidden her feelings for years, burying crushes on girls under layers of denial. But Maria changed everything. They met at community college, bonded over literature classes, and one day, under the cherry blossoms, their friendship bloomed into something more. Maria's touch was electric, her laughter a bomb, but now it all felt tainted by this fallout. Josephine's phone buzzed, Maria calling, but she couldn't answer, not yet. What would she say? That her family chose dogma over daughter? She found shelter in a dingy motel, paying with her meager savings from waitressing. Lying on the lumpy bed, Josephine's thoughts swirled in a vortex of anger and sorrow. How could Alina do this? They had shared secrets as kids, whispered dreams under blankets. But lately, Alina's resentment grew. Perhaps because Josephine's free spirit clashed with Alina's rigid adherence to family expectations. Alina was engaged to a man their parents approved of, a banker named Tom, and she wore her conformity like a badge. Did exposing Josephine make Alina feel superior? Safer? Josephine clenched her fists, vowing to survive without them. "I'll build my own life," she resolved inwardly, but the doubt crept in. Was loving Maria worth losing everything? Days blurred into weeks. Josephine crashed on friends' couches, then found a shared apartment with strangers. She dropped out of college, took double shifts at a coffee shop, anything to stay afloat. Maria was her anchor, their relationship deepening amid the chaos. "We'll make it," Maria whispered during stolen moments, her arms wrapping around Josephine in quiet defiance. But the societal whispers followed. Stares from coworkers, judgmental glances on the street. Seattle was progressive, but pockets of prejudice lingered, reminding Josephine of her vulnerability. She cut ties with her family, blocking numbers, avoiding old neighborhoods. Yet the pain festered. In quiet nights, Josephine's inner monologue raged. Why must I justify my heart? Why does love like mine invite hatred? One evening, after a grueling shift, Josephine received a voicemail from an unknown number. It was Alina, her voice shaky. "Josie, I didn't mean for it to go this far. Please call back." Josephine deleted it, her heart hardening. Forgiveness? Not yet. She focused on Maria, their love a quiet rebellion. They attended pride events discreetly, found community in underground groups. But the isolation weighed heavy. Josephine dreamed of her mother's hugs, her father's reluctant smiles. Gone now, replaced by emptiness. Was this freedom or exile? The question haunted her as she rebuilt, piece by fragile piece. Months turned to years. Josephine and Maria moved to Portland, seeking a fresh start. Josephine enrolled in online courses, pursuing psychology to understand the minds that rejected her. Maria worked as a graphic designer, their small apartment filled with art and laughter. But scars remained. Josephine avoided holidays, the reminders too painful. She wondered about Alina. Had she married Tom? Did she regret her actions? The betrayal lingered, a shadow over Josephine's progress. In therapy sessions she unpacked the trauma, the internalized shame, the fear of further rejection. Society tells us we're wrong, her therapist said, but Josephine knew it deeper. The battle was internal, fighting the voices that echoed her family's disdain. Then a letter arrived, forwarded from an old address. It was from her mother, pleading for contact. "Your father is ill," it read. "Alina needs you." Josephine's hands trembled. Return? Face the demons? Her mind screamed no, but a flicker of duty stirred. Maria urged caution. "They hurt you," she said. But Josephine's conscience wrestled. Family bonds, however frayed, pulled taut. She stared at the letter, decisions looming like storm clouds. What price would reconciliation demand? As Josephine boarded the bus back to Seattle, her heart pounded with anticipation and dread. The city skyline loomed, a reminder of abandoned dreams. She hadn't responded to the letter, choosing surprise over warning. Walking up the familiar driveway, memories flooded. Childhood games with Alina, family dinners laced with unspoken tensions. Knocking on the door, she braced herself. It opened to Alina, older, wearier, eyes widening in shock. "Josie," she whispered. The air thickened with unspoken words, the past crashing into the present. Josephine stepped inside, ready to confront the ruins of their bond. But what awaited was more than illness. It was a web of secrets that would test every fiber of her resolve. Alina's face paled as Josephine crossed the threshold, the house smelling of stale coffee and unspoken regrets. "What are you doing here?" Alina hissed, glancing over her shoulder as if fearing interruption. Josephine stood tall, her voice steady despite the inner quake. "Mom wrote. Dad's sick. Thought I'd see for myself." Alina's eyes darted, a mix of relief and guilt flashing across her features. She led Josephine to the living room, where their father lay on a recliner, oxygen mask fogging with shallow breaths. Cancer, stage 4, untreatable now. Their mother hovered nearby, her face lighting up at the sight of Josephine. "My girl," she murmured, pulling her into a hug that felt both warm and foreign. The reunion was awkward, laced with undercurrents of unresolved pain. Josephine's mind raced. Why now? After years of silence? As they sat, her father removed the mask, his voice weak. "Didn't expect you," he said, eyes avoiding hers. No apology, just acknowledgement. Josephine bit back retorts, focusing on the present. But Alina's nervousness was palpable. She fidgeted, avoiding eye contact. Later in the kitchen, Josephine cornered her. "Why did Mom reach out? You could have handled this." Alina sighed, pouring coffee with trembling hands. "It's complicated, Josie. Things have changed." "Changed how?" Josephine pressed inwardly, sensing layers beneath the surface. That night, as she settled into her old room, untouched, a time capsule of her youth, memories assaulted her. Posters of bands, hidden journals filled with confessions of her sexuality. She called Maria, whispering updates. "It's weird being here," she admitted. "Like nothing happened, but everything did." Maria's voice soothed. "Protect your heart." But Josephine's resolve wavered. Seeing her father's frailty stirred pity, conflicting with anger. Was forgiveness possible, or was it a trap? The next day revealed cracks. Alina confessed over breakfast. Her marriage to Tom had crumbled. "He left me," she said, tears welling. "Said I was too controlling." Josephine listened, empathy clashing with resentment. Alina had always projected perfection, but now vulnerability showed. "And Dad? He's not just sick. The medical bills are drowning us. Mom's working 2 jobs. Josephine's stomach twisted. Financial ruin? Why hadn't they said? But deeper, she sensed Alina's plea. "Help us." The sister who betrayed her now sought salvation from her. Irony burned. Josephine volunteered at the hospital, accompanying her father to treatments. His conversations were halting, glimpses of regret. "I was raised a certain way," he muttered once. "Didn't know better." Josephine's inner voice screamed. "That's no excuse." But she nodded, swallowing bitterness. Society's chains, religion, tradition, had bound him, just as they tried to bind her. Back home, tensions simmered. Neighbors whispered about the prodigal daughter. their stares judgmental. One evening, a family friend visited, spewing homophobic remarks disguised as concern. "Heard about your choices," he said to Josephine. She fired back, defending her life, but the encounter left her shaken. Why must I fight for basic respect? Alina's secrets unraveled slowly. One night, after their parents slept, she pulled Josephine aside. "I need to tell you something." Her voice cracked. Turns out, Alina had been the one to push for Josephine's disownment, not just reporting but embellishing, claiming Josephine was corrupting the family. "I was scared," Alina admitted. "Scared of what it meant for me." Josephine's fury ignited. "Scared? You destroyed my life." But Alina continued. She too had questioned her sexuality, suppressed it to fit in. Marrying Tom was her escape, but it failed. Now, facing divorce and debt, she regretted everything. Josephine reeled. Her sister, a mirror of her own struggles? The betrayal felt even sharper. Alina had projected her fears onto Josephine. Inner conflict raged in Josephine. Forgive? Or walk away? She thought of Maria, steady and loving, urging compassion. But the hurt was deep. As days passed, Josephine helped with bills, dipping into savings she'd built with Maria. The sacrifice stung. Why give to those who took? Yet, seeing Alina break down, admitting her jealousy of Josephine's courage, softened edges. "You lived truthfully," Alina said. "I envied that." Josephine's mind whirled. Was this manipulation or genuine remorse? A confrontation brewed when their father, in a lucid moment, asked about Maria. "That girl. Still with you?" Josephine nodded defiantly. He sighed. "World's changing. Maybe I was wrong." It wasn't much, but it cracked the facade. Josephine's heart ached with mixed emotions, vindication, sorrow. Society's progress clashed with personal scars. She attended a local support group, sharing her story, finding solidarity. But back home, decisions loomed. Stay and heal, or leave and protect herself. The high point came during a family dinner. Alina announced her plan to sell the house for medical costs. "We can't afford it," she said. Their mother protested, but Josephine saw the necessity. Inwardly, she debated offering more help, but at what cost to her own life? As plates clattered, old arguments resurfaced, faith versus acceptance. Josephine stood her ground. "Love isn't a choice, hate is." The room fell silent, the weight of years pressing down. Alina met her eyes, a silent apology hanging. Josephine wondered. Could they rebuild, or was the damage irreversible? The decision to stay longer gnawed at Josephine, each day a battle between duty and self-preservation. Mornings brought hospital visits, where her father's declining health mirrored the family's fracturing bonds. "Thank you for coming back," he whispered one afternoon, his hand weakly grasping hers. Josephine's throat tightened, forgiveness hovered, tantalizing yet elusive. Why does absolution feel like surrender? She pondered, recalling the nights she'd cried herself to sleep after the disownment. Back home, Alina's attempts at reconciliation felt forced, shared meals, awkward conversations about the past. "I was wrong," Alina said repeatedly, but words rang hollow without action. Societal pressures amplified the drama. News of Josephine's return spread through their tight-knit community, eliciting mixed reactions. Some offered support, others condemnation. A cousin called, urging Josephine to pray away the gay, igniting her rage. "This isn't a phase," she snapped, hanging up. The encounter fueled her inner turmoil. How long must I defend my existence? Maria's daily calls grounded her, reminding her of the life they'd built. "Don't lose yourself there," Maria advised. But Josephine felt pulled, the siren call of family ties deafening. Alina's confessions deepened. One evening, as rain pattered against windows, she revealed her own suppressed attractions. "There was a girl in college," Alina admitted, voice barely audible. "I pushed her away, chose the safe path." Josephine listened, empathy warring with bitterness. So Alina had known the struggle, yet chose to condemn Josephine? The hypocrisy burned. "You could have stood with me," Josephine accused. Alina nodded, tears streaming. "I was a coward. Marrying Tom was my punishment." The marriage's failure, Tom's affairs, Alina's emotional detachment. laid bare her misery. Josephine's mind raced. Was this poetic justice, or another layer of tragedy? As her father's condition worsened, ethical dilemmas surfaced. Doctors suggested experimental treatment, costly and uncertain. The family debated, pursue it, or accept the inevitable. Josephine advocated for quality over quantity, but Alina pushed aggressively, desperate to atone for past sins. We owe him this, she insisted. Josephine saw the parallel. Alina's drive mirrored her earlier betrayal, sacrificing others for personal redemption. Inwardly, Josephine questioned, at what point does helping become enabling? She contributed funds anonymously, but resentment grew. Why bear their burdens when they discarded mine? A pivotal clash occurred at a community gathering. Their church hosted a fundraiser for the family, but whispers about Josephine's lifestyle tainted the event. An elder confronted her publicly. Your presence dishonors your father. Humiliation surged, but Josephine retorted, voice steady. Love honors more than hate ever could. The room divided, some applauding, others scowling. Alina stood silent again, her inaction a fresh wound. Later, Josephine confronted her. You let it happen again. Alina broke. I'm trying, Josie. But changing isn't easy. Josephine's heart ached. Transformation demanded sacrifice, something Alina had avoided. Seeking solace, Josephine visited a LGBTQ center in Seattle, reconnecting with allies. Stories of similar disownments fueled her resolve. Family isn't blood, it's choice, a mentor said. But doubt lingered. Could she choose both her past and future? Maria arrived for a weekend, her presence a lifeline. They walked hand in hand through parks, defying stares. This is us, Maria said, kissing her softly. The moment fortified Josephine, but returning home amplified contrasts. Alina watched them enviously, her loneliness evident. I want what you have, she confessed later. Josephine's response was measured, then fight for it. The plot thickened with financial revelations. Alina had hidden debts. Credit cards maxed from her failed marriage, now threatening foreclosure. I didn't want to burden you, she said. Josephine exploded. Burden? You already did. The argument escalated, unearthing years of sibling rivalry. Alina accused Josephine of selfishness for leaving. Josephine countered with betrayal's pain. Their mother intervened, pleading unity. But Josephine's inner voice demanded justice. How much must I give? She proposed a plan: sell assets, seek aid programs. Alina resisted, clinging to status. The standoff highlighted moral quandaries, pride versus survival. As her father's days dwindled, he sought private talks with Josephine. I'm sorry, he finally uttered, tears in his eyes. For everything. The apology cracked her armor. Grief mingled with relief. But was it enough? Society's ingrained biases had shaped him. Yet personal accountability mattered. Josephine forgave tentatively, for her own peace. Alina witnessed her jealousy flaring. He never apologized to me, she muttered. Josephine realized. Alina's hurts ran deep unaddressed. Perhaps her betrayal stemmed from neglect, not malice. Empathy bloomed, complicated and unwelcome. High tension peaked during a storm. Power out, candles flickering, the family huddled. Secrets spilled. Their mother's own regrets, suppressing her dreams for the family. I wanted more, she admitted. The revelations bonded them momentarily, but fractures remained. Josephine pondered the cycle, generational trauma passing down. Breaking it required radical choices. She decided to stay until the end, but with boundaries. I'll help but not at my expense, she told Alina. The agreement was uneasy, pregnant with potential conflict. As thunder rolled, Josephine wondered. Could redemption coexist with resentment? The funeral loomed like a shadow, her father's passing swift and merciful in the end. Josephine stood graveside, rain mingling with tears, flanked by Maria and a sparse crowd. Alina clung to their mother, her face a mask of grief. The service was traditional, hymns echoing judgments of old. Josephine's eulogy was honest. He loved fiercely, flawed as we all are. Whispers followed, acceptance mixed with disdain. Society's gaze weighed heavy, reminding her of battles fought. Inwardly, she mourned not just him, but the family they could have been. Post-funeral, realities crashed. Bills piled, the house echoing emptiness. Alina proposed Josephine move back, share the load. We need each other, she pleaded. Josephine hesitated. Portland called. Her life with Maria thriving. But guilt tugged, abandon them now? Maria sensed the pull. This isn't your debt. Yet Josephine's conscience wrestled. Family demands sacrifice, but where's the line? She stayed temporarily, helping sort affairs. Alina's dependence grew, her vulnerability exposing cracks. I can't do this alone, Alina admitted. Josephine saw the parallel. Her own exile mirrored Alina's current isolation. Drama intensified with external threats. Creditors hounded, neighbors gossiped. One evening, Tom reappeared, demanding assets from the divorce. You owe me, he snarled. Alina cowered, but Josephine intervened. Leave or face consequences. His retreat empowered her, but Alina's gratitude felt manipulative. You're stronger than me, Alina said. Josephine's mind churned. Strength forged in fire, your fire. The encounter highlighted moral ambiguities. Protect the betrayer? She did, but resentment simmered. Alina's personal awakening unfolded. Inspired by Josephine, she attended a support group, exploring her identity. Maybe I'm like you, she confided. Josephine encouraged, but warily. Was this genuine, or a bid for sympathy? Alina dated a woman secretly, her excitement palpable. It feels right, she said. Josephine's empathy deepened, seeing her sister's struggle. But jealousy tinged Alina's progress. Why did Josephine adapt while she faltered? A heated exchange ensued. You had Maria, I had nothing. Josephine retorted. You had the family, I had exile. The argument laid bare damages, each paying prices for choices. Societal backlash hit hard. News of Alina's exploration leaked, community ostracizing them further. Friends distanced, church revoked support. Their mother struggled, torn between faith and daughters. God loves all, she murmured, but doubt laced her words. Josephine advocated therapy for all, pushing boundaries. We can't heal in isolation. Sessions revealed layers. Parental pressures shaping Alina's betrayal, Josephine's resilience born of necessity. Ethical debates arose. Forgive to move on, or hold accountable. Josephine chose hybrid. Boundaries with compassion. A turning point came via a letter from an aunt, offering financial aid but conditional on normalcy. Reject it. Accept and compromise? The family debated fiercely. Alina wavered, tempted by security. Josephine stood firm. Integrity over ease. They declined, choosing hardship. The decision bonded them but strained resources. Josephine sacrificed more, delaying her return to Portland. Maria understood, but tension grew. How long? Josephine's inner conflict peaked. Loyalty to blood versus chosen love? Betrayal resurfaced subtly. Alina, in a moment of weakness, confided in a friend who spread rumors. Josephine discovered via social media, vicious posts labeling them deviants. Heard anew, she confronted Alina. History repeating? Alina swore innocence, but trust fractured. I panicked, she explained. Josephine's rage boiled. How many chances? Yet, seeing Alina's remorse, genuine tears, promises of change, she relented. Redemption's path was thorny, demanding patience. Society amplified wounds, but personal growth beckoned. As months passed, healing flickered. Their mother attended pride events with them, small steps toward acceptance. Alina came out publicly, facing backlash but standing tall. Josephine mentored her, sharing lessons from exile. Own your truth, she advised. But costs mounted. Lost jobs, strained relationships. Josephine pondered the toll. Worth it for awakening? She and Maria planned a visit, blending worlds. Alina met Maria, awkward but warm. Thank you for loving her, Alina said. Josephine's heart swelled, glimpsing possibility. Climax built with a family crisis. Their mother fell ill, stress-induced. Hospitalized, she urged unity. Don't let past define future. Josephine and Alina collaborated, sharing burdens. In waiting rooms they talked deeply, regrets, dreams. Alina apologized fully. I hurt you to hide my pain. Josephine forgave. We're both victims of the system. The moment cathartic but bittersweet. Recovery brought reflection. Choices echo, damages linger. Josephine prepared to leave, her role fulfilled. But Alina's plea halted her. Stay a bit longer? The request tested limits, highlighting ongoing drama. Departure loomed, Josephine's bags packed in the quiet dawn. She gazed at the house, a repository of pain and tentative mending. Alina stood at the door, eyes pleading. You've saved us, she said softly. Josephine shook her head. You saved yourselves. The embrace was tight, charged with unsaid words. Driving away with Maria, Josephine's mind replayed the journey. From exile to reluctant savior. Had she paid too high a price? The road blurred with tears but resolve hardened. Portland awaited, a haven built on authenticity. Months later, distance allowed perspective. Josephine thrived in therapy practice, helping others navigate similar storms. Maria proposed, their engagement a beacon of hope. News from Seattle was mixed. Alina dated openly, advocating for LGBTQ rights locally. Their mother adapted, attending events. But challenges persisted, societal pushback, internal doubts. Josephine visited sporadically, bonds strengthening without suffocation. She reflected on the saga. Betrayal birthed growth, but at what cost? Flashbacks haunted quiet moments. The initial disownment's raw agony, Alina's accusatory glare. Then returns turmoil, forging alliances amid ruins. Ethical tightropes walked. Aid without enabling, forgive without forgetting. Society's role loomed large. Norms enforcing conformity, punishing deviation. Josephine's inner voice affirmed. Change starts individually, ripples outward. Alina's transformation proved it, her activism a direct rebuttal to past cowardice. Yet scars marked them, reminders of battles waged. A reunion tested progress. At a family gathering, old prejudices surfaced via relatives. Still with that lifestyle? An uncle sneered. Alina defended fiercely. It's love, not lifestyle. Josephine watched proudly, her sister's evolution evident. The standoff highlighted ongoing struggles. Acceptance isn't linear. Their mother mediated, her growth inspiring. Josephine pondered. Can full reconciliation exist in a biased world? Personal reckonings deepened. Josephine questioned her choices. Returning, was it weakness or strength? Saving Alina, who once destroyed her. Noble or naive? Maria argued the former. Compassion defines you. But doubt lingered. Society debated such dilemmas. Family obligations versus self-care. Josephine wrote articles anonymously, sparking discussions. Readers shared stories, echoing her turmoil. The feedback validated. No easy answers in moral gray zones. Alina's life stabilized, but not without fallout. She lost friends, faced workplace discrimination. Worth it, she told Josephine over calls. The sisters' relationship evolved, honest, supportive. Alina admitted lingering guilt. I can't undo the hurt. Josephine responded. We move forward. The dynamic shifted from rivals to allies, united against external forces. Yet Josephine guarded her heart, boundaries firm. Trust once shattered rebuilt slowly. As years passed, the narrative closed loops. Their mother's health improved, her acceptance full. Proud of both my girls, she said. Josephine's wedding to Maria was intimate. Alina as maid of honor, a poignant symbol. Vows exchanged amid tears, affirming love's triumph. But reflections persisted. The path's twists, disownment, vanishing, return, shaped them irrevocably. Damages paid. Lost time, emotional tolls. Awakenings gained. Authenticity, empathy. In quiet evenings, Josephine contemplated the saga's essence. Drama's intensity forged resilience, logic's thread weaving through chaos. Sung that Noi Tom resolved, but questions remained. Society evolved slowly, prejudices fading but persistent. Her story, one of many, highlighted the fight. Was the sacrifice justified? The answer, personal and profound. The tale ends not in resolution, but an ongoing journey. Josephine looked forward, scars badges of survival. Alina echoed, her path parallel yet distinct. Together, they challenged norms, paying prices for progress. But one query lingers, inviting debate. In the face of betrayal by blood, is forgiveness a moral imperative or a personal choice that risks further harm?